before we get out there, I want to let you know I'm real proud of you. Thanks. Oh, and you too, Ricky.
Rick Hendrick and his team depend on the expertise of their crew chief, just like you depend on your technician. And it's nice to know they both demand the same quality from their auto parts.
Anything else, Dad?
Yeah, try to bring it back in one piece.
Joseph Reddick Ricky Hendrick was a driver/owner in NASCAR from the late 90s to the early 2000s. Being the son of Hendrick Motorsports owner Rick Hendrick, it was obvious Ricky had a career destined in racing. With so many other racing families that came before them, the Hendricks were about to embark into the next generation. Ricky didn't begin his career in auto racing until he was 15, when he chose to compete in Legends competition. 1998 would turn out to be his best year in the Legends Series Summer Shootout, scoring his first victory in late May and his first pole in mid-July. Fast forward 1 year later and he's making his NASCAR Busch Series debut, where he qualified an impressive 5th at Myrtle Beach for Gordon Everham Motorsports. Qualified 5th at Myrtle Beach Speedway after quickly being elevated to the NASCAR Busch Series, driving for one of the biggest names in all of NASCAR, is surely impressive. On paper, it's a questionable decision to elevate a driver all before the age of 20 up to the NASCAR Busch Series before ever making a single start in ARCA, but with his background, you knew he was going to get a chance right away. The question was, how would he perform? In his 2 starts in 1999, he scored a best finish of 20th at Myrtle Beach. At Rockingham, he would end up DNFing, along with DNQing for 2 more races that season. Choosing to race in the NASCAR Busch Series so quickly was going to come with growing pains, but in his first start of the 2000 season, he looked as if he was about to turn the corner.
Talk about the future of NASCAR racing. You've got Stedman Marlin, you've got Justin Labonte right there. You've got 24 Ricky Hendrick. A lot of fresh new faces looking towards the future of NASCAR. Right a run for Ricky Hendrick, doing a super job as we go back downstairs. A lot of guys behind the wall.
Great run for Ricky Hendrick.
The 24, Ricky Hendrick, trying to do his best to hang on to 4th spot. Glenn, what a show.
Oh, it's a great show, and his dad is one of the most excited people here. He's got his eyes. You can see him following every move that Ricky makes. We're going to try to get a word with Rick Hendrick, but he is too involved right now in what's going on the racetrack.
At the Nashville Fairgrounds, he scored his first career top 5 finish, starting all the way back in 34th. A very impressive day indeed, but it would only turn out to not only be his only top 5 of the season, but of his entire Busch Series career. DNFs and DNQs really plagued his 2000 Busch Series season, but in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, it was a much different story. In 6 starts that season, he scored a total of 4 top 10s. He had yet to run a full-time season in any series, and there was no question where it needed to be. In 2001, he would run full-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, this time under Hendrick Motorsports, with Lance McGrew as his crew chief. To start the season at Daytona, Ricky Hendrick put together his best performance up to that point, starting 5th and ended up finishing runner-up in the season opener.
The GMAC Chevrolet did great all day, and can't thank my guys enough.
Ricky didn't let him outsmart him, you guys. Good job to Ricky Hendrick.
He swapped positions in the following race at Homestead, starting 2nd and finishing 5th that time. This meant he sat 2nd in the points after the first 2 races. Really, throughout the season, I wouldn't say he was a true championship contender, but he was definitely one of the top drivers. Without question, his best race of the 2001 season took place at the midpoint, the 12th race at Kansas Motor Speedway for the inaugural truck race on July 7th, 2001. He started 2nd and consistently ran up front all day. In the final 24 laps, he would get the lead and never looked back.
Ricky Hendrick in his 18th start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. This truck is called T-Rex 4. They've run it a couple of times this year with a couple of top 10s, but they know that this is their race to win today. Right sides are done, fuel is in, and the 17 is away. You aren't nervous, are you?
Just a little bit. Yeah, I hope we can get this one for Ricky and Pop. I am a little nervous.
And Dion Henske will indeed wave the white flag.
So we are 1.5 miles away from setting a record. How about putting Ricky Hendrick in the history books as the first winner, if he can hold on, in the history of this gorgeous facility in Wyandotte County, Kansas. We are in Kansas City, Kansas, for the inaugural O'Reilly Auto Parts 250. And now, 3/4 of a mile stands between Ricky Hendrick and a GMAC Chevrolet win in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competition. Here he comes down.
Hell yeah! Woo! Great job, Ricky. Great job, guys. That is awesome. Oh my God! Dream come true. Oh.
Ricky Hendrick doing the donuts for his first victory.
And how about this crowd of 75,000 Midwestern NASCAR fans on their feet, giving a high five to the son of Rick and Linda Hendrick, who becomes the youngest winner in the history of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing.
Now they got one win.
Oh, how does that feel?
My butt's not burning anymore.
Exactly.
But, it's awesome. I mean, you just can't say enough of this team. I think we found some of what we've been looking for all year, and we'll go back to Kentucky and see what we can do there.
Well, let's get your mom and dad in here. I know they want to celebrate with you, and they're right here. You're going to get a hug from Dad. Rick, you got to be proud of this young guy.
Yeah, I really am.
It's okay. I know. I know what you're feeling. That's a very emotional dad and a proud father, too.
This season turned out to be Ricky's only full-time one in NASCAR. In 24 starts, he scored 1 win, 8 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and had an average finish of 9th, finishing 6th in points. That win at Kansas was also the first and last of his NASCAR career. The next challenge was to move up full-time to the NASCAR Busch Series in 2002. It never really got going, mainly having to do with injuries. 3 races into the season, he suffered a broken shoulder after this crash at Las Vegas.
2 cars hard in the wall in turn 1. Ricky Hendrick is one of them.
Tony Raines in the 33 car.
The crash sidelined him for 3 months and ended up returning that May at Richmond, finishing 15th. But it became clear to Ricky right away that he was not up to his full driving capabilities. His final top 10 was a 7th place finish at IRP, and later that season at Kansas, it would turn out to be his final NASCAR race ever.
All right, trouble on the racetrack. Reggie Jackson, a great guy to have on board, guys.
Part owner of the 92 car that Todd Bodine drives, and that's Ricky Hendrick, who's in trouble.
Again, it looked like Ricky got out of the groove.
After this race, Ricky simply had enough. It takes a realist to realize what they're best at, and in this case, Ricky realized that he wasn't capable of performing at a top level for this team. But since this team was formed for him, he was going to oversee its future. He knew this was a championship team. All he needed was a driver to bring it out. Ironically, the driver he ended up choosing was also involved in a wreck during his final career start. Brian Vickers, at just the age of 19, was signed to drive for Rick Hendrick in 2003. Ricky Hendrick's new role as an owner was going to help bring Hendrick Motorsports into the future. He had already nabbed 2 potential prospects in Brian Vickers and future Cup Series champion Kyle Busch. And right away, Ricky's eye for talent was extremely apparent. In 2003, Brian Vickers went on to win the NASCAR Busch Series Championship. 2004 only proved further that Ricky was going to be a huge part in Hendrick Motorsports' future. He was officially listed as the car owner for the 25 of Brian Vickers, now elevated to the NASCAR Cup Series. Meanwhile, in the NASCAR Busch Series, Kyle Busch was developing in his first full-time season, going on to win multiple races. A year and a half into his new role, and Ricky Hendrick was already excelling. Deciding to retire early as a driver was one thing, but being able to take the team that was built for you into the future is a totally different beast. There's no question Ricky Hendrick was destined to run Hendrick Motorsports someday. Unfortunately, we'll never know for sure, because on October 24th, 2004, at around 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, tragedy would strike. Towards the end of the 2004 Subway 500 at Martinsville, a local Charlotte affiliate for NBC had ran on a ticker during the race that stated the FAA had reported that a plane connected with Hendrick Motorsports had crashed en route to the racetrack. And after the race, NASCAR made the official announcement.
Yes, we've been made aware. The FAA reported they lost contact with a Hendrick Motorsports airplane inbound for Martinsville earlier today, Bill.
12:30 yesterday afternoon, the Hendrick Motorsports Beech 200 disappeared from the radar trying to land at the tiny Blue Ridge Regional Airport outside of Martinsville. Among the 10 killed in the crash, John Hendrick, brother of Rick and president of the company, Ricky Hendrick, Rick's son and retired NASCAR driver. Back in Concord, employees covered the sign at the entrance of Hendrick Motorsports, waiting until nightfall when the team returned to the shop. Staff huddled like a family in mourning for 90 minutes, returning home, taking the condolences of the NASCAR family with them.
The official investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board concluded that the cause of the accident was due to weather and pilot error. In the middle of their grieving, Hendrick Motorsports continued to push on. The following week at Atlanta, Jimmy Johnson and the 48 team would pay the ultimate tribute. Not only winning at Atlanta, but after the race in Victory Lane, turning all of their hats backwards and pointing to the sky in honor of Ricky Hendrick. Days after he died, his fiancée Emily learned that she was pregnant with his child. She gave birth to their daughter, Josephine Riddick Ricky Hendrick, on June 29, 2005, naming the girl after her late fiancé. Ricky Hendrick's record as a driver won't live on in the history books, but his potential as an owner can't be denied. Hendrick Motorsports is still in a very strong place, but who knows how dominant this team really could have been had Ricky Hendrick still been alive. Today, his old number 5 scheme is back in the Cup Series, driven by Kyle Larson, where in 2001 he won at Kansas on the anniversary of the tragic plane crash, but most recently at Richmond in 2023, he would go on to win on what would have been Ricky Hendrick's birthday.
I want you to pay particular attention to the paint job on Kyle Larson's car, and I'm sorry, this chokes me up. That was Ricky Hendrick's paint scheme when he raced in NASCAR, the late son of car owner Rick Hendrick. Today would have been Ricky Hendrick's birthday.
Ricky Hendrick was 24 years old. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.